KhonziTabea, how are you?
I'm okay, thanks for yourself.
Good, good. Thank you for finding time to be part of these people behind the dissertation project. To give you a brief introduction, this project is a baby child of people behind the papers. In a nutshell, we want to find out the real stories behind people who write stuff. So for now, we are concentrating on people who have written and completed their dissertations. So thank you for finding time in your busy schedule to accommodate us. For starters, Tabea, who is Tabea? Just give me a brief background. Where do you come from? How did you end up doing psychology and masters for that matter? Just a brief history of Tabea.
Okay, my name is Tabea Tsaole. I'm originally from Garankuwa, and when I completed my matric, I decided to do a BA Ed. And when I completed, I was majoring in education and psychology. When I completed my first degree, I decided to deviate to psychology. That's where my love in psychology developed when I was doing my first degree. Then I went to University of Port Elizabeth. I did my honors degree, I completed, and I worked until I decided, no, let me pursue my career in psychology. And that's when I registered my master's degree with UNISA.
I'm actually interested in your work before doing master's degree. When you completed your B.Ed and honors in psychology, where did you work?
Okay, my first job, I worked in Sandom Casino. It's now known as Monte Casino, but when I worked in Randbeck, it was Sandom Casino. I started as a slot attendant. I worked with hopper bags.
Okay.
And they advertised the position internally as human resource assistant. I applied for the position, I got the position, I worked, I think for a year. And I got a position in the South African Police Service, and I worked as a psychometrist since 2002 until the end of 2009.
How did you manage to find yourself as a psychometrist? Did you, after honors degree, did you specialize in psychometry?
I remember I completed my honors degree in 1997. And as part of your honors study, there was practical that you do, so that when you complete your honors degree, you can just register. There were no good examples. After you complete, you go to a health professional council and register. You register as a psychometrist. That is how I registered as a psychometrist.
Okay. Within the police services?
Before I entered the police service. When I applied for the position, one of the requirements was that you must be a registered psychometrist. Yeah, it was one of the requirements.
So within the police services, what exactly were you doing?
Okay, we were doing employee assistance service, that is, counseling, and one of the big projects that we did was recruitment of entry-level police officers. You do psychometric assessments as part of the recruitment process for entry-level police officers.
And all of a sudden, masters, like the journey, what happened? Why did you decide to say, you know what, let me put my work on hold for now and do a master's degree?
I think it was plus minus 10 years after I completed my honors study. And as you're sitting and not studying, and when your peers are studying, it's a pressure. You are forced to be in part with your peers and study, just like them. But for me, it was a challenge because I have a family and I have 2 kids. I wondered as to how will I manage, concentrating, full-time on my studies and concentrating on my kids, because, there are homeworks, there are activities, and, there is home chores that as a mother you are supposed to, do. And it was a struggle for the 10 years. That's why I waited so long. And I came to a decision that I really need to pursue my study. I can't just have an honors,
And by that time you were married?
I was.
Yeah. How did your husband take this news that, look at my wife now, she wants to pursue her studies and masters?
For him it was like, it's easy. I mean, you'll make it. I mean, studying and being a mother, it's easy, go for it. And I felt like he is undermining the pressure that I'm gonna be, experiencing. And it came a time when I just decided, I think it's time. Yeah, I think it's time.
And I'm interested in the mark here, a married woman with kids having to attend full time. How did you juggle all this?
It was not easy. I want to be honest, it was not easy. But I believe when you're committed and when you plan your things accordingly, everything is possible. But it was not easy because how strenuous and how stressful it can be. There's too much project. And remember, in 2009, we had the first, student psychology conference in Botswana.
Yeah.
That we had to really participate on the project. And me again going away was a problem. But when you have a partner who's very supportive and who really understands your ambition in life and who supports those ambitions, I think it's easy. Honestly speaking, I think it's easy.
I couldn't help but notice that your dissertation topic, one of the reasons why I asked you about your career as a working woman, I realized that your dissertation revolves around the police. And then how did it came about for you to come up with this topic?
To be honest, it was a longitudinal study. When I entered the SAPS, this project was there were people who were currently busy with the research topic. So when I wanted to think of a research topic, I honestly didn't know where to focus. And one of my managers, said, since you're studying, I think this is a topic for you that will benefit the organization. And because we have resources in place for the topic, it will be much easier for you. I think that's how my choice of the topic, came about.
So was the data already there? Also it was?
It was not there.
And then what I'm interested in is there's this information within the organization and you are not sure which topic you should concentrate on during your masters, and you are motivated by your manager. Did you find it difficult to make a decision whether you should do something that you really are passionate about, or you should just go along with something that is already there? How did you?
Yeah, at that onset, I thought it's easier than starting a project from the beginning. At that point, that's what came into my mind. I thought it's easy. People have done this. Although I have to decide as to which part I want to concentrate on, but I think because people have done it, it's going to be easy for me at that point in time. And I didn't even hesitate. I said, no, this is a topic that I want, to pursue. Yeah, but as time goes on, you really get into your dissertation. You realize that sometimes it's easy. I think it's easy for a person to choose a topic that they are passionate about, that is not dependent on any project or any other people, because it might be time consuming. It might be time consuming. And as you know that my topic dealt with police officers. That was one of my biggest challenge, was data gathering. I thought it would take me, honestly, I thought it would take me 2 months
Yeah.
to collect data. But yeah, it took me plus minus 8 months. And when I say 8 months, I thought, you know, when you get information as to who were part of the entry-level training, you get the list of names. But even allocating the police stations as to where these people are took me, you know, a hell long, you know, time. And finally, I was able to locate some. Another challenge was data gathering. You know, organizing sessions. You know, you organize a session of about 50 police officers and only 3 turn out.
Yeah.
You know, that's the biggest challenge. And when I started, I had a sample of plus minus, you know, 180. I had to reduce my sample to 80 because 80 was achievable. Because I saw if I go for 150, it's going to take me a long period of time.
Talking about data gathering, what really motivated you? You know, you go to a setting where you have made prior arrangements that X, Y, and Z number of people will arrive, and only 3 arrive. What keeps you going?
You know, the 3 that came on a particular day, you'll be thankful because you know what? Taking into consideration the nature of police work, that you know they have projects, you know, that they have to work on call, and sometimes I won't be able to blame them. But the 3 that were able to come for me is data. Yeah. Is data that is going to be very useful. You know, it's better than no one tanked on the day. You know, it was better than nothing.
And an advice that you can give to students who are about to do with data gathering. I know for students it's easier to think that everything will pan out okay. Theoretically, I have to do this and that and that, but practically, I have to do this data gathering and everything goes wrong. What advice can you give them?
You know, perseverance and patience. You know, when you are faced with a situation that you really don't have control over, you can't be hard on yourself. You've planned, as long as you know that you've prepared, you've planned accordingly, and come the day, you know, things don't go your way. And you understand again that, you know, people have to work. They're police officers, you understand the nature of their work. You just have to be patient and keep on arranging as many sessions as possible, knowing your difficulty in the matter.
So how was it like for you to do research and do the data gathering in a familiar territory, like it's a police setting and you've been there for 10 years? How did it affect the nature or the motivation behind the whole research process?
Like I said, you know, being in the police for such a long time and thinking that I have contacts and it's going to be easy for me, it was really a frustration. Because I thought it's going to be easy because I am working in the police and I know people. Remember that I work with these people. I thought I would get, you know, so much support, but it's not always like that. You know, you really have to work hard and you really have to persevere and be patient and remember your goal. That, you know, even if 3 came, it means it's minus 3 out of your sample. It's better than nothing.
So, talking about the whole writing up process, now I'm talking about the writing up of a dissertation. How did you start? Because I know for some people it could be a nightmare, and people always say once you start typing that first sentence, everything goes according to plan.
For me, it was not like that. You know, sometimes you have energy and you feel like, you know, you can push a lot. But I think literature review is one of, you know, the chapters that really takes your time. because I mean, reading an article, it means a paragraph, or sometimes it can mean 2 sentences
Yeah.
of your whole document. So I would say, you know, when you have spare time, just, you know, read an article. When you are driving with a person, when you know that you are going to be alone, just take an article and read, because I'm telling you, it takes a whole lot of time, you know, to really complete your literature review. And remember, you know, plagiarism is really an issue, and it's advised against, and nobody should do that. So for you to have a chapter that you know that you've read and you've given your own version of what you've read, it takes time.
Yeah.
Honestly speaking, it takes time.
So for you, because you've just finished your dissertation, how was it like to write the whole document? When you look at it, how do you feel? It's a document.
Never mind. You feel very proud, but it's not always easy. Like I say, or sometimes you feel like, you know, you have all the energy, and sometimes you just stop, and it's few months you haven't done anything, and you get a wake-up call after several months that, hey, I haven't been doing anything, and you know, where's my focus? And you know, you go outside your planning and your time frames, and you start, you know, being worried as to will I really complete. But you know what? I had a very great supervisor. I don't want to lie, and I still believe today that if it wasn't for his support, I don't think I would have finished at the time frame that I've, you know, completed my dissertation. You know, when you are not submitting anything and you get an email as to, hello, what's really happening with you? And you start, you know, say, yeah, I've been too relaxed. Now I really need to write something and just submit.
Talking about supervisors, I'll draw from our own experience. Sometimes people want to be supervised by the famous people who have written a lot, and some people tend to choose for experts within that field, but maybe they are not famous, they are not professors, they're just people with a master's degree, but they are experts. The whole choosing of a supervisor, how did you choose a supervisor?
I just want to be honest when answering that question. I think for you to have a mentor and a coach, there must be some kind of connection and a relationship, and the trust that, you know what, this thing will work. You know, when you have somebody that you call a mentor, when you have somebody that you call a coach, it's somebody that you see that they will be able to assist you, and you can foresee a relationship, academic relationship, you know, working between the two of you, and you can click with that person. I think, you know what, we can say, just choose anybody, and you find out that it's not really working. You must. I for one, I chose a supervisor that I felt that we can work together. We can really work together, you know, a person who's very patient, a person who can really understand and who can motivate you, you know, to do the best, to do your best. It's very important. It's very important. There must be that click, or else, you know what, there's going to be strain in the relationship. It's going to be strain. And remember, you have to complete.
Most definitely. You have to. So like, when do you make that decision? Is it at the beginning of the year or during the course of the year? Because forming relationships and seeing through people, but understanding people takes quite some time. So when do you actually make the decision to know this is my supervisor? This one?
I think after some few months, you can make your own judgment as to, remember, it's not only about the supervisor, it's about you as a student. Will this person really tolerate the person that I am? It's not about you tolerating the supervisor, it's about the supervisor tolerating you as well. You know, the person that you are, because we are very different, and we know our weaknesses now, we know our strength. You want a person who will be able to accept you as you are, with your strengths and your weaknesses. And sometimes when you see a person, you see a person who can really, understand you and tolerate. It's about being tolerant and tolerate you as you are.
It's about you. It's to it.
Yeah.
The silent shift. I understand that you now work in the Department of Trade and Industry. Previously, you were working in the police environment. Why the sudden change? Or was it coincidental?
No, it was about career development. For me, personally, it was about career development. I've been, dealing with employee assistance services for quite a long time, and needed a shift and to do something different to what I was doing.
So how is it like moving from police to academia? Because I understand when you do the math course, things become too academic, and then you go to this departmental government institute. How do you manage to find a balance, or how do you manage to fit in to the current environment?
I think
It just happens.
yeah, you find you have to really adapt to the situation, but just taking things as they are and understanding what your role is within the organization. It's not about what you have, academically or what you have achieved. It's about understanding what is it that you have to do, what's your job role and what is your job function. It has nothing to do with your achievement or your academic achievement. Can you really deliver as to your job requirements?
And does your colleagues understand that? I know you understand academic achievements, shouldn't worry about it too much, but sometimes things can go wrong because of the academic achievements that people perceive that you have.
That's why I always believe that my name is Tabea, and my title must not come before my name, because you're creating a lot of expectation, and I wonder if you'll be able to live to that expectation. If you are good, people will ask you. Will ask us to, what does she have, or this person is so great, So your name must come before your title, so that people, if you're good, you're good, and if you're not, you're not.
Yeah. So, like, writing up the dissertation can be a nightmare for some people. I want to know, how do you manage to come up with this big document where the support structures there for you? As a working mom with kids married, how did you find time to sit and write?
I think for me it was like I developed a document where I planned my activities and gave those activities time frames as to I see myself completing chapter 1, by when, chapter 2 by when, because it really guides you and it really shows you whether you are achieving or you're not achieving. So I think when you start from the beginning and you plan your schedule and you give it time frame, it really helps, and it did help for me, because when I'm left behind, I can see that I'm being left behind, and I really need to do something about it.
So you've always worked with a specific guideline time frame. For interest's sake, if you didn't meet the deadline,
and which happens, sometimes you don't. Like I said earlier on, that having good supervisors who can send you a pop-up email as to you've been very quiet. What's going on? And for me it has been a wake-up call. When I get those kind of email, I know that I've been quiet for quite a long time, and I really need to start writing something.
So maybe found pleasure in writing the document, or was it you have to do it?
Yeah, that is a very difficult question, but when you see your work, then it's worth it. You know, it's no longer that stressful, but you feel like you've done your best and it's been really worth it. But it's not easy. Sometimes you feel like just putting it aside, and you'll see it after a year, and it's really not easy. As long as you plan and you get that wake up call that you've been so quiet, do something, and you yourself you're committed to finishing. Because I 2010 I didn't write anything. The whole of 2010. Come December 2010, I said, you know what, I want to really finish, and I'm going to start, and I'm going to be very busy 2011 and finish. So there comes a time in a person's life when too much is too much. You really need to stop this laziness and really finish. I didn't want to see myself as a dropout, and I just told myself that this year I really want to finish, and I'm going to finish. It's about focus and commitment.
What really interests me is the juggleness, isn't it? For a working mom and a married woman who goes to church.
I do position.
How do you really find time? Because there are students who want to be motivated, and you find students who don't go to church, who are not married, who don't have kids, but who are struggling to complete stuff. What advice can you give?
I believe we make time. We don't have time. We don't have time. We really need to make time if we want to achieve our goals. And for me, I made the time. If it's after work, everybody's asleep, I write at least 2 pages. If it's weekend and I'm free on a Saturday, I write. When you make time, I am definitely sure that you're going to achieve it. We all don't have time, honestly speaking.
So it's about sacrifice.
Yeah, it's about sacrificing and making the time. And making the time.
Does prayer helps? Does it?
Yeah?
Does prayer help?
Yeah, prayer for strength and for wisdom helps. It helps. Sometimes you really need to pray for yourself because you are so weak and you feel like the road is too long. And you ask yourself, will you be able to get there? And you really don't have strength. You want to read the article, but you don't have the strength to even read it. That's where I think prayer comes in, where you have to pray for yourself to regain your momentum, to regain your strength, and to really focus on the end result.
And the husband, has he been supportive throughout the journey, especially the writing part?
Yeah, I think the support that he gave me was cooking, give me time that he cooks. He takes kids. When it's weekend, he takes kids away, and I have time to just write something. And I think I really need to thank him for the support that he gave me. To sometimes give me my own space so that I can push my things.
Can thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your support, your time, your understanding. Really, your understanding. I think it takes a real man to say, let me cook, let me go out with the kids so that I can give you time, because I hear that you're stressing. And I want to reduce your stress, but to focus on your work.
And surely he's proud of you.
No, he is very proud. He is very proud.
I'm proud of you, Sasha.
I am very proud of myself. I am very proud of myself because it is a journey. It is a journey, and sometimes it's hard because you really don't know whether you get to the finish.
Promised land.
Yes. But like I say, and I still stress now that you really need to have a good support structure. And I wouldn't say where most. It should be balanced. It should be balanced. You should have a good support structure at home. You should have a good supervisor, and you should also have people that you really consult. Because for myself, the data analysis was another chapter that was very difficult for me, because I had to consult. Knowing where your weakness is and knowing where to get the right people to assist, it's another angle, to tackle when dealing with your dissertation.
Yes, I actually wanted to ask you about the actual dissertation. I had an opportunity to have a look at it, and it's a quantitative study. Did you have some kind of prior exposure to quantitative research?
Not really. I didn't. It was my first practical exposure.
And it's brave of you to undertake a quantitative study without experience.
I think so. I think it was easy because for me, qualitative study would have been a bit challenging, So qualitative, when you deal with numbers, it's easy. You deal with, questionnaires and you analyze. I thought it was, an easy route for me. I thought your qualitative would definitely be problematic for me.
So did you do your own data analysis, or did you consult? Or did you do it together with your consultant?
Yeah, we did it together. He would explain to me as to, what things meant, and I would go and analyze it myself and, give it to him to see if I'm in the right track. But I would do everything myself. I would take the numbers and write an analysis on the findings.
Because you are the main decision.
Yeah.
And then your colleagues, because you did this whole research in a work environment, the support system, how do they
assist?
Yes.
I think data collection, I had one psychometry sometimes that volunteered to assist with administration. But in most cases, I did it myself. I went there and administer and take the questionnaires.
Actually, come end of the day, you feel.
Yes, of course. When you do it yourself, you feel like you feel very proud of yourself. You really feel proud of yourself. I did all the work, and it was not easy. Data collection, if I was not as patient as I was, I would have said, let me go the route of qualitative. But because, I told that, I was really not sure as to how will I be able to manage a qualitative study. Then I said, let me persevere, let me reduce my sample to 80 and give myself more months to complete. And finally, I got myself to 80 and I did it.
So when did you start writing up the whole dissertation document? Did you wait until you collected and analyzed the data, or did you do it consistently?
I just started. I attended my full-time studies 2009, and during my studies, I started writing when I had time. I started writing, and when I started collecting data, then I stopped everything. I focused on the data collection until I finished, and I continued with writing.
So I'm interested in, last thing we're about to wrap up, getting feedback from your supervisor. How does one deal with getting constructive criticism from your supervisor?
I think it has to do more with the approach the supervisor. They've got this, they must, the strategy, the approach that, they give you feedback. I remember I wrote a big document and I submitted, and I thought it was off. And then I got an email that, please come to my office. Let's talk. Then I felt, something heavy is coming. But when somebody gives you feedback to assist you, and politely so, and you can, see that, they want you to improve, and they want you to understand as to how, your writing style should be, then it's easy. I had to start my document from scratch because there were a lot of loopholes, but understanding that you are a student and you are learning and you are learning to be the best is taking the feedback in a positive way and understanding that you're not just getting feedback from any other person, you're getting feedback from an expert, somebody who knows best. You have to take feedback in a positive light and understand that it's going to benefit you.
When you left the office, after the beginning,
I had a headache.
How do you feel?
I had a headache because you're studying again. It's not easy. It's not easy. But one of the good advice that I got from the session is I want to help you, and I'm going to make sure that this year you submit. When those words rings in your mind that this is about me helping you to complete. It's not about me trying to waste your time or wanting you not to succeed. It's about me wanting you to succeed.
Did you use your peers as your reviewers? Like when you write, did you bounce off ideas with your peers, be it at work, with your husband, or your church mates? And when you write a document, to submit it to somebody, did you use a particular strategy?
Yeah, I had peers I would write a chapter, but you know what? Honestly speaking, when I had time, when you start writing, you have a lot of time. But as time goes on, you don't have time to take your document, to be reviewed. You don't have the time. You just write to submit. When I started, I had enough ample time to just write and give it to my peers to read, and they would give me feedback. That was at the beginning. But as time, I was running out of time. I didn't have time for that. I just wrote and submitted. So I think when you have more time to yourself, you can do that. But when you don't have time, you can't really do that.
So has it worked for you? Like using peers?
Yeah, it has. It has worked. It has. It is one of the best. I would say it's one of the best way to get your document, because when you write, you write and you think you go into the right direction. But when somebody reads it and they give you feedback, you say, I didn't see that way, and I think this way would help.
But do you really take their advice? Unlike getting feedback from the big professor.
I do.
Now you get feedback from a friend or a relative. Do you really take it into serious consideration?
I do. And where we don't see eye to eye, I just call and say, I probably don't understand, as to what you are saying, because I have this in mind, and we discuss and debate about the issue, and I would find an insight as to what I'm taking.
So this is actually a journey, yeah?
It is. It's a long journey. It's a long journey. It is. I want to say it's a long journey, and as long as you manage your time properly, you plan, as to when you would envisage finishing, and as long as you have good support structure, there's no way you would finish. You would definitely finish. And as long as you've got a a very patient, because I think, you know, you need a very patient supervisor. Because sometimes you submit one chapter and it will come back 3 or 4 times, you know, before it becomes, you know, at the quality that your supervisor is expecting from you. So you really need, you know, a very, you know, patient supervisor. And a very supportive family structure.
Yeah, I see. So doesn't it work to your disadvantage to have a patient supervisor? Like say, I know my supervisor doesn't push me, might as well relax.
Not for me, I know it's the quality that I want, because I don't want to feel pressured to feel like, you know, if I don't do this, it's like, you know, I need somebody who's very patient, because I know that I take my work very seriously. You know, I'm not like slagging, I won't slag, you know, I won't misuse their patience. You know, I don't want to be extremely feel under pressure, because I know it might be my, you know, downfall. I say, you know what, I'm not surviving, or I'm not coping. Let me just put it aside for a while. So for me, I really want the supervisor who's going to be very patient, but at the same time, I'm not going to slack. I'm going to understand that I also have to deliver.
Have you ever come across the point where you said, you know what, this topic is not good for me, have to change?
Yeah, it came, but you know what, it was too late for me to change. I thought of changing, but I said, you know, I've done too much work. It would go to waste, and you know, me studying again, it's another process. I said, you know what, although I'm challenged there and there, I'm just going to continue.
So are you planning on doing a last dissertation on a favorite topic?
Probably when I do my studies. I want to choose a topic that I'm very passionate about, because I think it's one of the challenges that, you know, people experience. You know, you choose a topic that you're not passionate about. You know, when you do a dissertation, it's like you want to finish it and you want to complete. But when you consider a topic that, you know, you're really passionate about, it becomes spontaneous, it becomes easy, it becomes natural, you know, and you really enjoy what you do. So I want to stress that, you know, choosing a topic that you're really passionate about is one of the prerequisites, or one of the requirements, or it's one of the most important, it's one of the most critical aspects of a dissertation.
So any plans after dissertation?
Yeah. For now, I really want to give my family enough time. Probably I'll come back, but I'll resurface, I'll come back.
Doing a PhD.
Yeah.
Last words, any advice that you can give to, let me see where you start, to a student who's still at an honors level, who wants to do a master's, to somebody who's enrolled for a master's degree now, and to somebody who's struggling to complete their dissertation. What advice can you give them?
Yeah, like I said earlier on, my advice is, first of all, topic. Think of a topic, even if you've not even, you know, registered it as yet. Think of a topic that you want to pursue, something that you're very passionate about, because you can't learn passion. If there's one thing that you can learn is passion. Passion is what you really enjoy, you know. You enjoy doing, irrespective of, you know, going to complete your studies or what. Have time. See yourself having time to do, you know, all the projects, because there are lots and lots of projects when you're doing your master's studies. See yourself having the time, and be committed, and always see yourself having that support structure, whether it's people that have done it before. It's about time people network with people that have, completed the master studies, so that they can network and get ideas from them.
Okay, thanks Tabea for the time. It was really a pleasure talking with you. And once again, thank you for accommodating us in this beautiful boardroom.
No, the pleasure is mine. The pleasure is mine. Thanks.